One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, transformative, healing, resting planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart here in the Metaphysical Mocha Mondays Inspirational Room. Thank you for tuning in to this morning's show. I'm Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. I'll be your host for the next 30 the next 30 hours, the next 30 minutes to go do a little bit of spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold. Inspirations, motivations, encouragement. And today we're going to be talking about love. But we wouldn't get into Metaphysical Mocha Mondays without a nice cup of coffee. I've got my man mug this morning. Man mug. Everybody's got to have a man mug, right? So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your protein shake, whatever you want to do to join me in setting an intention, setting a vibration, setting a positivity for the next 30 minutes. Cheers to you. And this morning I wanted to talk about a few things to help you on this journey of what's going on in this crazy world of ours. There's a lot of stuff every morning I wake up and in quarantine here in Seattle, and I have to say I'm blessed because I have the ability to work from home, where there's a lot of people that don't have that ability, or there's people that have been unemployed due to this COVID, and it just seems like every day I wake up there's something negative, there's something going on in the world that is just dividing people. And I thought this morning during my meditations that I would come on and I would talk about choosing love over fear, and just going to help you for the next half hour kind of work through some things. Now you'll notice in the description field, if you want to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Like, share, comment, so you can become a top fan on the page. That's how you get your badge, your stars, or whatever, is by commenting. Facebook algorithms tracks that. But I noticed I put fear in as dots, as an acronym, and fear for me has always been false evidence appearing real. And I didn't really come face to face with true fear until I was in the U.S. Coast Guard several years ago, where I served 8 years of my life, always going out to other people's tragedies, literally being a first responder. And when you're in those situations, you learn what real fear is: fight, flight, or freeze. Everything else is created here in this construct of our mind, and our focus does determine our reality. So if we're always going to be focused on fear-based stuff, then our reality is going to be full of the visibility and the reality of fear. But if your world is filled with love, a little bit of tongue twisting today. That'll be interesting to see what happens in the Healing Cafe. If your world is filled with love and your focus is determined on love, and you focus in on that, a lot of the things that you'll see in the world are of love. So this morning, I thought I'd just come on and talk about for the next 25 minutes what we can do to embrace love, and why it's important on choosing love over fear. Again, fear for me is false evidence appearing real. A lot of stuff that we create on our own. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's move into what I like to call the magic of the moment. And one of the first things that we can do into getting into practicing love is take a nice deep breath. We can shift our focus, we can shift our intentions, we can shift our energy just by focusing in on love. To live from love, not fear. We can practice this daily. Attitude for gratitude. It's a great way through the power of breath of shifting from the ego mind into the more open-mindedness, if you will. I do a lot of studies in psychology. I got my sports medicine degree in human performance and psychology at the University of Washington, and that's really, guys, what put me on this path of spiritualism, psychic, mediumship, metaphysics, energy, frequency, vibration, intuition, awareness, all of that, because the brain is so amazing on doing so many things. And so this morning, I always say reject fear, choose love. And, this weekend was hard for me. For you guys that follow my work, you know that I'm very passionate as a constitutionalist, because I raised my right hand to defend the Constitution of the United States as a veteran, as somebody, trying to help other people and create a way of life that other people can enjoy. Remember, freedom is not free, guys. And there are a lot of people out there on the front lines, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, nurses, doctors, that are all fighting this COVID right now. And now on top of that, we've got civil unrest, we've got divide, we've got, defund the police, we've got Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's all important for transformation, and it's all important for change. But at the same time, if we go down that pathway of fear, and I was pretty upset this weekend what took place in Portland, federal troops not being identified and grabbing people off the streets, protesters. Some would call them rioters. This country was founded on protesting, guys. This country, your way of life was built on the ability to have your First Amendment to protest. But when I see federal officers in green military-style uniforms with no identification, grabbing people and putting them in unmarked cars, minivans, and taking them to undisclosed locations, that's not America, guys. That's not the Constitution. It's very unconstitutional. It literally steps on the Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist, and the Constitution reminds us to fight enemies foreign and domestic. And Friday for me was tough. I had a tough weekend. I was very upset with what I saw and where I see America going. We're Americans, not Americans. I hate the politics of what we're seeing. I hate this divide on a national health crisis. Again, guys, wearing a mask is not a political thing. It's an IQ test. And if you don't want to wear a mask, then you choose to, possibly wear a ventilator. And I'm saying that from a place of love. I'm really trying to come from a place of love, not fear. Our primal emotions as being a human being is love and fear. And we can't feel both at once. You can't feel love and fear at the same time. You have to choose. Just in the same way that light removes darkness, love can remove fear. But you have to make a choice to where you're going to be. And this weekend, I was upset. I was in a place of a little bit of fear because I'm fearful of what comes for this country. Things that I've long talked about with my psychic predictions back in January. I did my show on Inspired Living Radio, where I talked about what I saw coming for America. But at the same time, through this great transformation and change, through the not the doom and gloom, but the ability to see the end game here, if you will, but to be in a place of love, I saw the great coming together. I saw sustainability for our planet, for the human race. I saw self-mastery, and you're seeing some people that are self-mastering and some that aren't. They're kind of losing their stuff, if you will. But I also talked about getting to this place of homeostasis. And homeostasis is neither fight nor flight with the nervous system. Homeostasis is right down the middle, and being able to see both sides of the coin, being able to see people's different perspectives without moving into a place of judgment. But what we have with media and social media and people's opinions is, you may want to look up a term in psychology, and we call it cognitive dissonance. It's belief versus facts, and you have a lot of people that are going to just stay in their facts. You're going to have people that are going to stay in their beliefs, and then when the two collide, it creates chaos, it creates uncomfortability, it creates opinions. So, but the one thing we can choose to do is move into this place of love, and today's show is all about choosing love over fear. And for me, fear has always been false evidence appearing real. We create a lot of falsities in what we're doing. And, I do this show. I started doing this show 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, guys. So make sure to get on my YouTube library so you can catch all my past shows. 5 seasons of Inspired Living Radio, interviews over on YouTube, and my Instagram channel at Marc Lainhart, or Inspired for Us. It's also on Twitter, Inspired for Us. But I started doing the show with an intent and a purpose to inspire, to encourage, to motivate, to get people to think outside the box, and to be a light in the darkness, choosing love, choosing the light in a time that many of you are finding to be a place of fear, a place loss of hope. And I can tell you that the months ahead are going to be difficult. I'm a realist. I'm not, spiritualism is an interesting pathway. And again, look up cognitive dissonance so you can get an understanding of what I'm talking about from a psychology standpoint of how we can choose love over fear. We can choose facts over belief, but you can't do them at the same time. And the spiritual path is not always easy. It's not an easy path to follow, because for those of you that are sensitives, for those of you that are empaths like myself, it's hard to see the things coming. But I know at the end of this, the transformation, the inner alchemy, the caterpillar to the butterfly process is going to take place. And I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, like a brother to me, and we were talking about how healthcare is going to change from this, how education is going to change from this, how social interactions are going to change from this, how sports are going to change from this, how our economy is going to change from this, how the planet is going to change from this. For some of you, you've been long anticipating what we call the awakening, the age of Aquarius, the ascension. It's here. It's happening. And for those of you that are just waking up to this can be a very painful, fearful place to be. But, one of my students in my group, my spiritual development group, posted a really good picture of, and this is from Teal Swan. She's a really great teacher and spiritual advisor and counselor, and does a lot of great work for our planet. But she talked about, many people think that being spiritual means being positive, but being spiritual means being conscious and aware. And to become conscious is much different thing than to become positive. To become conscious and aware, we must become authentic. We must become authentic. Authenticity includes both positive and negative. The balance between night and day, the sun and the moon, the day and the night, the water and the air, the light and the darkness, the love and the fear. And it takes balance. But, for some of the people out there, you know who they are. They're not conscious. They want to keep their blinders on and go forward. And that's fine. That's free will and choice. But for those of you that are awake, or you've had a shakening that's caused awakening, or you're moving into consciousness or awareness of what is going on around you, it can be a very fearful place to be. So I wanted to come on today and talk about how we can choose love over fear, how we can get through this together, how we can have sustainability, we can have self-mastery, we can have the great coming together, and we can find homeostasis through all of this, which is that center road of balance, mind, body, spirit. And through that as well, we can only pick one at a time, love or fear. You can't have both of them in the same construct of your mind at the same time. It's always a choice. It's literally like the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other, and you're constantly going through the day trying to choose, okay, do I want to be in love? Do I want to love this person? Or do I want to fear and get into opinion and judgment with my ego of this person? And trust me, there's a few people in my life right now, socially and what I see out in the world, that I would love to have a place of opinion and judgment, but I have to love them. You have to, it goes back to that scripture of love your enemies, love others as you love yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, it's really hard to love others. And, that's a hard message, because what I'm seeing out in the planet, what I'm seeing out in consciousness, what I'm seeing out with the rhetoric and the propaganda and the misinformation and the fake news and the false information, it can be a very scary time. But I hope today's show can inspire you to move into a place of love, to choose love over fear, and to have a consciousness of choosing one or the other. Because again, you can't have them both at the same time. You either have to choose love or you have to choose fear. So I'm gonna just read some things to you that might help you on your journey. I'm gonna give you your totem animal spirit for the week, your numerology number for the week, and your crystal for the week to help you on your journey, to help you be a spiritual prospector in search of your own spiritual gold, your own spiritual transformation, your own spiritual knowledge, your own pathways, just to make better decisions, more informed decisions, if you will. And you make better informed decisions based on your intuition, not what somebody tells you, just so you know. So let me just put the radio show link in there. Like I said, my radio show link's in there, marclainhart.com. If you want to work with me, it's kind of your one-stop shop to get you to all the different links. My latest article on the pathways to healing. I'm writing my new newsletter and my new article talking about the best revenge is healing and forgiveness. That'll be coming out soon. So make sure to go to marclainhart.com or get on my YouTube channel, or follow me on Inspired Living Radio, where we're going to have a great guest this Wednesday. More to come. You can go to Inspired Living Radio, the Facebook page, or Twitter or Instagram under Inspired for Us to get the upcoming information for the shows. The amazing guests that I have from all different topics from all around the world, and this Wednesday is going to be a repeat guest who's coming to interview and tell us about some things that we need to hear in this day and age. So I don't know if I'm a little tired or a little confused this morning, guys. I'm going to just grab another drink of coffee here and try to get in the magic of the moment, because I feel a little tongue twisted this morning. So I'm going to take a power of breath. And again, we can choose love, we can choose to reject fear, but we can't do it at the same time. It has to be a conscious, intimate relationship with setting intentions of what you want to choose. Do you choose love or do you choose fear? Today I hope that you're choosing love over fear. And one of the things that you should do when you start to move in, I found when you choose love, you're more motivated by what you gain and take part in, and love is a natural pathway to travel towards something you can gain. If you truly love someone or something, you will continue working towards success with that goal, allowing your love to motivate you. Love is a motivator. Love is a healer. Sometimes you have to let people go and love them from afar. That's something I've had to come to with my own journey and my own relationships in my life. I've had to let relationships go and just know that I love them from afar. And I always remind people, just because we're not friends, you're not my enemy. I'm making a choice of who sits at my table of life and who joins me on my journey of life. Because you want to be at peace. You want to be happy. You don't want drama. You don't want lies. You don't want that fear in your relationship. I'll remind you that love does require sacrifice. But if you're willing to sacrifice for what you love, you're going to grow. You're going to transform. You're going to open up amazing opportunities and doorways that you never thought possible through the power of love. But love does sometimes take sacrifice. You know, when you fell in love with something, whether it's a person or a project, keep that mindset, you know, in the forefront of your intentions, because that keeps the action alive. It keeps your thoughts alive. I'm a true believer metaphysically that you set an intention here, you speak it, you take actions to make it happen. That energy follows that in that pathway, metaphysically speaking. So, you know, fall in love with something, you know, keep that mindset, if you will. You know, biologically speaking, just at the cellular level, because we're more than just a physical flesh suit working a 9-to-5 job. I always teach that we're physical, emotional, mental, material, and spiritual, what I call the PEMS, P-E-M-M-S. And the physical is this physical body, what you see before you, this construct of who Marc Lainhart is in the physical form as a man with a beard. The emotional part, how I feel, the heart connection, the chakra connection to my external world, and how that impacts my internal world. That's the emotional connection. The mental construct, the thoughts that I think. Am I choosing love or am I choosing fear? You can't choose both at the same time. You have to be one or the other, but you have to constantly be mindful, if you will, of what fear is, again, false evidence appearing real, or what love is for you. And the human brain responds mentally to more things that are positive than something negative. They've done tons of tests on this. You know, choosing love will guide your brain positively, as we say. They've done studies where when people move into the place of love, the brain lights up in many different areas. When people move into the place of fear, the brain kind of shuts down into a protective mode, if you will. So biologically speaking, at the cellular level, mentally, you have the choice. And, you know, it's you decide. You're right. You're right. You decide. You choose. But I'm just wanted to remind you, biologically speaking, at the cellular level, physical, emotional, mental, material is things that you have around you, things that you want to bring into your material world, things that you work hard for, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's savings. But just remember, guys, at the end of the day, you take none of this with you when you move into the spirit world. And it's left here in the physical world, usually left to the, you know, kind of your legacy is left to the people behind you, if you will. It's kind of like a garden you don't get to tend anymore. But you left the garden and it continues to grow and keep transforming and providing. So just remember that choosing love will guide your brain positively. Fear, I find that fear will darken and cloud your path. You know, it's kind of think of it like night versus day. It's harder to see at night, right? Fear is that dark energy. Fear is that darkness. You need the light to kind of find your pathway. And I find that fear darkens the path. It clouds your mind. It clouds your pathways. But love will broaden it, and it will literally enlighten it. It will lighten it up. You know, it's where the cracks in our life is where we let the light in. It's where we let the love in. Recognize that fear is an emotion felt when something huge is taking place. You know, love will allow you to push through these obstacles, and we've all had obstacles, guys. A big part of why I do this work is because of the death and the dying, the near-death experiences, the obstacles, the people who blame you for things that they did to you, or people that are maybe jealous of you, or come from a place of ego or in competition with you. Just remember, guys, the only person you're ever in competition with in life, it should be yourself, to become the better version of yourself. And that's what I really try to focus in on my mindset when it comes to love. In the words of Jim Carrey, you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. That's very, very true. Love frees you to act with confidence and courage. Fear says, I can't be enough, the self-sabotager. Love says, I am ready, I am enough. Fear says, you know, you can't do it. Love says, you can do it. Love creates new opportunities out of problems. I find that through opportunities or through obstacles, you can find great, if you stay in the power of love, you can find great opportunities and creative ways to get through that. You know, I find that love supports other and creates a beautiful world through cohesion and what I call the symbiotic relationship. Just like we have the trees. A lot of you that follow my work know that I always talk about nature. Nature's our greatest teacher, our greatest healer, our greatest engineer. And if you don't believe in the power of Mother Earth and what nature can do, then you may want to reevaluate what COVID is, because it literally impacted the planet. Mother Earth said, hey guys, hey humans, who've been really bad in being in an ego space and not an eco space. Here's COVID. Here's a virus. How are you going to deal with that? That's the power of Mother Earth. Just like the trees give off oxygen, we give carbon dioxide off as I'm sitting here expressing myself and breathing. there's a symbiotic relationship with nature. So we better get on board with respecting nature, because if we don't, nature's not going to respect us. And you can see that virus. There's a lot of political debates out there. It was man-made. It was a conspiracy theory. I just think it's balance. Nature through history always finds a way to balance itself. There's population resets. If you learn from history, just like this pandemic of 1918, 100 years ago, very similarities between social construct, the news media, the presidential crap that we see out there, and what people did for 2 years to isolate. And remember, I talked long about this, that the second wave is usually more dangerous than the original outbreak. And what are we seeing? So stay properly informed, stay safe, but learn from history. Be a student of history, because if we don't learn from history, those that don't learn from it are condemned to repeat it. And we're repeating a lot of these same patterns, unfortunately. And come from a place of love, not from a place of fear. And we can, I'm thinking of the song from Hamilton, Rise Up, and, have this great coming together. So I want to read a thing before we move into the Healing Cafe. The Healing Cafe, I'll start here in about, where are we at? In about 1 minute. I better hurry up. We'll get ready for the Healing Cafe. Make sure to get your questions ready. It's where I have direct readings, spiritual chats, Q&A. I'll go for about an hour or so. Sometimes I go for 2 hours. But make sure to stay here on this Intuitive Prospector page, or subscribe or like, or get notifications so you know when I'm in the Healing Cafe, which will follow next here after I'm done with this show, which goes over to my YouTube channel. So I want to read this real quick. This comes from The Quiet Mind. It's a book that I sometimes read to start my meditations off. It's the sayings of White Eagle, for those of you who know White Eagle or the story of White Eagle. But it says, when love possesses your heart, to serve adequately, the soul must make sacrifices. There must be sacrifice of desire and of self. Your master demonstrated this, even to sacrifice of love itself. There is no true service without sacrifice. You may shrink from it, dear ones, but you cannot alter the law of life. But when love possesses your heart, all service, all givings, bring such joy that there is no sacrifice. And there's a lot of sacrifice when it comes to love. But I hope today that you'll choose love. I hope that you'll choose love over fear. That's today's message. Today's card was the abundance card. And again, this is the pink tied to the heart, the number 88, which is double infinity. I've got my 8 on today. Infinity, I'm a life path 8 numerology. And it's all about choosing love or fear. And through love, you'll get a lot of abundance in what you're doing. So double 88. So pay attention to that number. Your crystal for the week, I picked the agate stone. The agate stone comes in many different forms. It's clear or milky white, gray. It can be blue, green, pink, brown. It can often even be artificially colored. But what I love about the agate, it's a very common stone out there, very common crystal. It comes from the United States, India, Morocco, Brazil, Africa. But what I love about its attributes of the agate stone, so if you find an agate, it's layers upon layers of crystals that have been laid down in bands, if you will. So it gives a lot of different colors when you find an agate. And what I find is through the layers, it creates stability for your path. And agates are what we call grounding stones. They bring about an emotional and a physical and an intellectual balance if you're wearing them. So I've got, for example, this is a blue lace agate that I'm wearing right now, followed by a bloodstone in the form of a yin and a yang. And so I wear this when I'm working over my heart to find balance, to keep me grounded in what it is that I'm doing. But it also aids in centering and stabilizing the physical energy. And with everything going on in the world, guys, we need stability, we need groundedness. And so find yourself, whether it's a blue lace agate or find yourself an agate. For your totem animal spirit, I'm just going to go to my journal here and I'm just going to pick the otter this morning. And the otter is the fun-loving, playful, it floats on its back. It eats abalone. It's time to relax and have more playful, spontaneous, and creative pathways in your life. Clean up that area in your home that needs organization and for some time. Whatever struggles you're up against right now, confront them head on with courage, determination, and tenacity. That's the otter for you this morning on your totem animal spirit. So thanks for hanging out with me this morning here for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I hope that you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay properly informed to get through this health crisis, this national health crisis that America now finds itself in. Follow the data, don't follow the media. Don't follow the political jargon out there, is what I would say. Follow the data, because it's through data you can manage what you can measure, if you will. And I can tell you that this COVID is going to continue with us for some time, and it's going to get more dangerous. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay properly informed, and most importantly for today's message, stay in love, guys. Choose love over fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. I'll see you in the Healing Cafe. I hope that you have a blessed week, a positive week, a week where you can make some differences in your life and in the lives around you, and you can do that again through the power of love. So have a great rest of your week. Have a great Monday morning, and I'll see you over in the Healing Cafe. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.